Not a lot of people know this, but I actually started my career doing biomedical marketing, which is the marketing equivalent of watching paint dry. Let me tell you. If you can sell a refrigerator or a freezer and make it sound interesting, you can literally sell anything. So not only was the industry horrific, my boss was brutal. It was a Japanese company that was so strict, and it had basically every rule and regulation you could possibly think of. We would get docked every time we were 5 minutes late. They would literally time how long we were taking for lunch. It was just brutal. So I had no idea what I wanted to be doing, but I knew that was not the environment that I could thrive in. So pretty much I set out to find the exact opposite experience, which involved throwing a lot of darts at the wall, let's be real. I applied to startups, I applied to ad agencies, I applied to publications, pretty much anything where I could be creative and was outside of a cubicle. And this was way before the Instagram world. Guys, I'm old, don't let it fool you. So I ended up in an adventure travel company back in Chicago who actually sold tours. So also, pre-Instagram, people actually used travel agents. Hey, crazy world. So within 2 weeks of me being hired, that 200-person company went down to 20 of us. So they realized there was not a whole lot of money in selling tours, and travel agents had a lot of overhead. So I was pretty much told I could either go from doing online marketing for these tours to figure out how to be a managing editor of this new publication and online travel site they were going to build, or I could find a new job basically again. So I decided to risk it and stay with them, because within those 2 weeks I just fell in love with the travel industry. I was literally reading and writing about amazing places all day. I spent my day probably writing a guide for every single country, every single city, every single state, so 5,000 pages of this massive website. Back then, our second product after the tours was selling sponsored content campaigns for different brands. So tourism boards would come to us, like Visit Colorado, Visit Aspen. Each city and state has their own little coalition that does their marketing, would come to us and be like, we want more adventure travelers, or we want more family travelers, or whoever, and we would connect them with the right bloggers. So bloggers were really the OG Instagrammers, the OG influencers, and they just sort of built up these followings online. None of them were journalists. They're all kind of people that figured out how to take some iPhone photos. Some of them were better photographers than others. None of them had good grammar. I was literally rewriting all their shit anyway. And my boss was like, please figure out how to get your own followers so we don't have to pay these outside people to do it anymore. So long story short, he bought me a guide on how to figure out Instagram, hack it. It's less applicable now because they keep changing the algorithm. But I built up my own followers and started doing a lot of their campaigns, and I've been doing it full time for about a year now. So what I actually do, the term is influencer. I hate that term. I think it's pretentious as hell. Thank you. It's terrible. I'm a content creator. So what I do is I partner with different destination brands, outdoor products, and I create multimedia campaigns for them. So yes, sometimes it's a one-off Instagram post, but where the real money is through integrated campaigns. So I'll do posts on my channel, I'll do posts on their channel, I'll do takeovers, I'll create articles for their site, I'll create blogs for my site. Sometimes there's videos involved, sometimes there's multiple people involved. Each campaign is structured differently, but they all have these multiple components, so you're hitting people at multiple different touch points, basically. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. It's been great. As much as I love traveling and I love showing people that this is an amazing world and adventure, it is not the dream life that you see on my Instagram. It's not a vacation. I'm not getting paid to sit on a beach, even though that's what I'll be telling you I'm doing. I'm getting paid to travel to a job. So waking up at the ass crack of dawn to get a sunset. If there's no sunset, doing it again the next day. Kayaking in 30-degree weather because you're only there for a finite amount of time and you have to capture X amount of activities. Falling through frozen lakes in Alaska. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes. Do I love it? Absolutely. But I love it because I'm my own boss, not because I'm getting paid to travel and that I work for myself. So it's definitely a lifestyle that is not suitable for everyone. I'm on the road 70% of the month. So I live here about 3 days. have almost no friends anymore because I missed all their birthdays. It's very sad. Dating's really hard. There's just a lot of things with the lifestyle that you don't necessarily see that go on behind the scenes. But if it's a lifestyle that you're interested in, absolutely anyone can do it. And let's talk about that. Okay, so the main part about being an influencer is that it's 100% personal branding. You have like 5 seconds to capture people's attention. So everything that you are trying to say to people who are following you and to brands has to be said in that 5 seconds. Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. So while people get really, really hyped up on the nitty-gritty of putting out one awesome, pretty photo, I look at the whole feed as what is this feed saying about this person, what is it saying about me, and is this the message that I'm trying to communicate? So I'll obsess over your personal branding, guys. That's message number 1. Spend hours and hours. If you are trying to do this professionally, archive the photos that aren't professional. Archive the ones that have boyfriends, cats, dogs, whatever. No one needs to see you getting drunk on St. Patrick's Day. It just is what it is. If you love those pictures and you only use it socially, consider creating a second account just so you can only have this like branded version of your life. I have 3 or 4 accounts just because they're literally all different niches. One is just for food, one is just for adventure, and then my main lifestyle one. So they all kind of have a different audience, and they all get kind of different sort of responses to the audience. So, secondly, a lot of people think that followers is the way to get money on Instagram. It's not. I mean, yes, of course it helps to have 1 million followers, but the best photographer out there is not the one making the most money. I promise you that. The person taking the best pictures is not the one making the most money. The best salesperson is. So the only person you should compete with on this stuff is yourself. As long as you're passionate about something, you are going to make money from it if you put a lot of time into perfecting it and working from it. So goal number 2 is figure out what you can offer these brands. That means I was not a photographer. I take iPhone photos and I'll own it all day. I have an arsenal of things that I put into my pitches, whether that's blogs, content, editing, social media help, consulting help, photography, I guess. I'm not really a photographer. But just any sort of creative talent that you think is valuable to someone else and you could potentially see yourself offering as a service. So the main way to get these partnerships, if you've never worked with one, is just sort of fake it. When I was in journalism school, we would pick local brands in the community and do ad campaigns for them. So any restaurant, any gear company, you're all wearing branded jackets right now, start tagging those brands in photos and get on their radar. Someone with 10 followers that's an actual advocate and an actual fan is a lot more valuable to them than someone with 1 million followers who's just posting about it because they got paid for it. So prove you're a real advocate to them, get on their radar, and start sending them some of your ideas. If you want to work with a brand, basically do a fake photo shoot for them. Go to the mountains. We live in Colorado. It's fucking gorgeous here. No better setting in the backyard, let's be real. And do what you would do as if you're getting paid, just so you have some examples of things to show possible partners. I'm all about the fake it till you make it method. You could do this with anything, a product review on your blog. If you don't have a blog, just sort of a write-up, you could send them for their site. If you don't want to be a writer at all, just a video or a photo, literally anything that could be of value to someone else. Does that make sense? Are you guys going to go out and do this right now? Like this weekend?
I already have.
Oh, great. So one thing I will say is a lot easier with the mom and pop shops and these local brands, some people that don't have $1 million marketing budgets. Of course, everyone wants to get sponsored by the North Faces and the Patagonias. They like to choose extreme athletes, whereas me and the people I hang out with really go with the we're the slowest kid in gym class. Look what we can do now, hey. Everybody. So really find those brands that you think could use the help and sort of do a deep dive into people who you could potentially work with. I would challenge you all to go home, and if you want to do this as like for funsies, whether it's for paid or just for free gear, who doesn't like being a gear order, make a list of kind of like 50 to 100 dream possible partnerships and obsess over their advertising. See what they're putting out on their own channels and sort of mimic that in your own. And then also, while you're looking at what they're doing, comment on all their stuff. Get in front of them by being a real fan. You don't have to just be creating your own content. Show you're obsessed with them. And get on their radar any way you can. Be annoying, guys. Be pushy. I'm telling you, sales is really the way to get business here. And then the $1 million question. How do people get followers? I wish there was a silver bullet. 2 of my influencer friends here will tell you there is not. It is the same kind of principles as getting in front of brands. Think about, as a user, why you follow random people that you don't know. There's your friends and your family that you have to follow or you'll never hear the end of it. But for the people you just like on social, what are you attracted to with their feed? Is it the colors? Is it the content? Is it the picture? Is it the layout? Is it their funny memes? Is it their dog photos? Like, really, really, really figure out what it is you like about them so you know why people would like you. When you're following people, let me go back. The main way to get followers, unfortunately, you have to start following other people. It's exactly like a networking event in real life. You can be the person in the corner of the room waiting for people to come to you, but the people who are doing deals and getting shit done are getting out and meeting people and getting in front of their face. So following someone on Instagram is exactly the same as handing them a business card and saying, here I am, please check me out, get to know me. But you can be the creep who's like, hey, here's my card, I'm walking away right now. No one wants to be friends with that person. It's all about starting a relationship and actually doing a deep dive and engagement and being connected to every single one of those fans. So you don't want to get followers, you want to get fans, and you want to build a community. Otherwise, they're going to follow you for 3 days and be gone the next day. And my good friend Talia is much better at this than I am. She's built her account faster than anyone I know. Any thoughts?
Yeah,
Wait, Talia, do you want to go up? Because you're in the video.
Okay. My strategy, my strategy is a little different than Lauren's. Instead of following people a lot, I saw what was trending in my niche, which is food, cooking, and meal prep, and I saw what was getting shared, and I created content that would also kind of look like that, so it would also get shared by lots of people, and that worked really well for me. So seeing what's trending, trying mimicking it in your own way, and then putting it out there.
You also kill it on the stories.
Oh yeah, stories are really great. Use them. Seriously, if you want to get on stories and you're small and you don't have a lot of followers, start now because no one's looking. So you can like screw up and it's fine.
Stories are really a great way to stay in front of people if you're not doing something super interesting. Like they're not editing. It's true though, if I don't post stories like every couple days, people literally think I'm dead. So they also, if you use hashtags and tag your geolocation, it's a good way for discovery just to get found by people. Instagram's gotten really annoying lately with every algorithm update. So the way I used to get found and get discovered a lot is I used to be in the top 9 hashtags every single day because I could rank for them. Most recently, they've changed the algorithm, so what I see on the Explore feed is totally different than what any of you see. It's all personal now, so there's no way to really rank for it. But stories is still one of the best ways for discovery. So, I don't know. I think that might be it. What do you guys want to know?
Anyone have questions for
Tell
Lauren?
us the first story about the first brand that engaged with you.
That's a good question. So I was doing campaigns for my advertiser before I had my own account. And I was basically working under their label of producing content for this travel company. So I would say one of my first trips was probably pretty local. It was like to Aspen or Snowmass. And it was trying to figure out a way to show them as a destination that was not hyper-pretentious luxury, but appeal to the rest of us. So I would do the non-frou-frou things, like the Via Ferrata. Sorry, that was Telluride. But some of the less Aspen things. Yeah. And showcase a different side of it. A lot of destinations are looking for that to reach a different audience. Like I said, I'm not the extreme athlete like some of my friends are. I'm the more approachable person, so I give them a new outlet to reach people they wouldn't necessarily reach on their own channels. Yes?
What do you say to brands when they come with you and they want to work with you but not pay you?
Ooh, good question.
Like, we'll give you product, but...
So used to love getting free product back when I was doing this as a side hustle. Unfortunately, exposure does not pay the bills. But I have gotten a lot of my gigs lately from people who have approached me with just a straight trade. Said, here's a product. I'll go back to them and say, that's cool. Content creation takes money. So you can always negotiate and always counter, because you never know who actually has budget. Unfortunately, a lot of people just take things because they think they should when it's offered to them. But alas, always counter back with either rates or something you can do. Which brings me to a point that I completely forgot to mention. I was traveling for free and getting free stuff before I had any followers, before I was an influencer. There's a million ways to skin a cat. I volunteered abroad. I hustled my ass off to get job interviews in out-of-state places that they thought I wanted to take. I staffed high school trips to Mexico. I won a bunch of travel contests. There are other ways to skin a cat if you really just want to travel for cheap or for free. You can be a miles hacker. I wish I knew more about that. Some people are doing it awesomely. But yeah, definitely figure out a way to make it work for you.